Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Welcome to the R2F show. Thank you for joining us. Assalamu alaikum to everybody that is joining us. We appreciate you being here. Today we're going to do a much needed discussion on Halloween. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate we have to do this discussion. It really is, but we have to because we're doing it purposely a couple of days before Halloween, so that people, you know, can be aware of the dangers of getting involved in this sort of stuff. So, with that being said, we're just going to jump right into it. So, the first thing we're gonna talk about is actually the history and where Halloween came from and different other historical relevant things regarding Halloween, and to show that it's not just some innocent little thing where we just exchange candy. So we're gonna let Amr take it from here.
Yes, inshallah. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for introducing the show. All right, so the history of things is very easy to find. We live in the era of information. Unfortunately, most people won't take the time to just either go research it themselves or learn from someone else. So I took the liberty to do some research for you guys prior to the show and give you the history of Halloween. As Jafar said, it everything seems just innocent as time goes on, it loses its meaning, whatever the hell. But that's not really the case. So let's get to the history of Halloween. Okay. So Halloween has many different origins, right? Um, it kind of started in one place, went somewhere else, got adopted out elsewhere, and eventually became an American holiday. And some, even now, it's part of like the world holiday too. Like other people of all over the world celebrate Halloween as well, not just America. So it has become kind of widespread. I even saw a Halloween celebration in like Saudi a couple years back. So it's gotten to the
Mm-hmm.
point where it is a global holiday that a lot of people celebrate for whatever reason. So Samhain, right? Okay, it is a pagan festival, dates back 2,000 plus years, and it was celebrated by the Celtic people, right? And around this time, right, this is when it's going from that fall season into winter, right? So they're praying for good harvest and to survive the winter, basically, right? That's what they're praying for, and they believe that like this is a point in time in end of October, start of November. This is when like the gates of like uh, the living and the dead are awoken, and people can just transport back and forth in between these realms whenever they feel like it. The ancient Samhain people of Celtic Ireland, right? And that they also believe that these bats, because if you're at night and see this hanging down bat creature for the first time, like this is probably a demon. So clearly, these things are interchangeable. They also believe that you should wear costumes to fit in with the demon, so they don't attack you. So a lot of it ties back into what we see today. You get there eventually, and so they had to practice for a while. And with the rise of Christianity, as we'll see with the Roman influence, because Rome was previously called before Rome became known as like Byzantine at the end of our at the Islamic times. Before that, it was Roman Empire, and then it was the whole Roman Empire. So it started with
Mm-hmm.
Christianity. It was the widespread in Christianity. So Pope Gregory the Third, he established All Saints Day, and really it wasn't a new holiday, right? He just took what the Irish people were already doing before Halloween, instead of changing that holiday around, saying, "Hey, this is paganism, this is against our church and our religion." And he just said, "Hey, listen, we're gonna adopt it into our own faith and change
Mm-hmm.
it around so that it kind of benefits what we have and what we need to do." So instead of praising, the gods for like a good harvest and to survive the winter, all that stuff, they said, "Hey, listen, praise your local saint, your holy person, and give them all the veneration that they deserve and need." Right. So you already see
Yep.
it went from praising like asking whatever pagan god they believed in to have them survive the winter to hey, praise this human instead, praise these saints, these popes, right? Because the pope like I know people don't say this in Christianity, but like the Pope is basically a god to the niggas. Like in
Yeah.
reality, my apologies, sorry, but he's basically like a god to them, right?
He's their sultan.
Yes, they revere that man to the utmost degree, right? So much so that he can, hey, listen, let's go have a crusade. So he's Pope Gregory III. He's responsible for bringing in Halloween to Christianity, but it wasn't celebrated the way that it is today, right? And
Yep.
then we get to America, right? The American celebration, right? It wasn't. the way they do it now, it was very frowned upon by the Christian church, right? The Protestants didn't do it that way at all. It wasn't, but because we're Americans, and as we're breaking free from the Brits and British rule and British imperialism, it's like, hey, listen, we're going to do our own thing. We're going to change the way that it happens, change the way that it operates, and we're going to make it a fun, festive holiday. And we're going to completely remove the origins of anything pagan about it. It's going to be just strictly just, hey, let's have fun, let's get candy, let's go out to do parties, right? Let's have trick or treat, and it's going to be totally okay. So they have to remove themselves from their religion at all. So there is no religion tied to it at all at this point in time in America. It's just strictly a holiday for these people. But as you see, when things happen like that, this is how it works. It starts as one thing, the origin, celebrations. There's living the dead come together, and you can veil the two back and forth, and then it kind of gets dumbed down into this like simple, I guess, nonsensical holiday, which people celebrate all the time, right? And this is really one of the many tricks of the devil, right? The Shaitan does this to you all the time, and it's never a like giant leap. It's never like a 70-yard pass. It's gonna be a 4-yard run all the time, and you're not gonna notice what's happening to you, right? So hey, listen, this is just okay. I mean, it started off as this, just like what happened to the Arabs. The Arabs believed in Allah at one point in time, right? There's a prophet that came to the Arabs before Prophet Muhammad, and as time went on, hey, slowly things are, hey, listen, okay, how about we go to this grave and pray here? How about we do this instead? Okay, how about instead of praying to Allah, let's pray to this guy because he's like really important. Okay, let's pray to other people as well. Okay, how about make some idols? So as time goes on, you will see the devil's play always works because people fall for it, and it's never a drastic change. You're never gonna see a Muslim person who's a devout Muslim just one day say, hey, listen, I pray all the time, I give zakat, I do all the stuff I'm supposed to do, and then one day he just says the next day, hey, I'm gonna do alcohol, I'm gonna go have prostitutes. This is not how it works. It's a gradual decrease, and that's how it works. It's 1,000 cuts. So if you're a Muslim, you have to be very wary of this, because this is just a slipping step, right? Like, you're gonna start here as Halloween, and as time goes on and progresses further, okay, well, Halloween is just it's just a date for my kids, candy, and be a party here with my friends. And then it's like, okay, well, Easter is, I mean, we know as Muslims, Easter wasn't born that day, or whatever. And also we know that rabbits don't lay eggs, so this is fine as well. Let's have my kids go and have Easter hunts. Cool, all right. And listen, Christmas, I mean, Saint Nick's not around anymore, yeah, we can give them gifts. It's fine. We got time off of work. Let's go ahead and give them gifts. And this is what happens. And before you know it, you're celebrating all these pagan holidays, which is not your holidays at all. So it's really sad to see. Always take time to find the origins of stuff. This is why in Islam we only have 2 holidays. All right, there's a bunch of other holidays that people want to celebrate. We have 2. All right, we have Eid al-Fitr. Besides that, there is no other holidays. There's no Milad Nabi, none of that. There's 2 holidays for a reason. Keep it at that.
And you see like how this like we look into the history of Halloween, and if we want to learn anything from it as Muslims, it's just another classic example of innovation. It's just an innovation in Christianity, but we do the same things in Islam and we're just not aware of it. And when you look at, for instance, in like Indian culture, Pakistani Indian culture, and in like African cultures, how many different local traditions or customs are absorbed into Islam. And it's kind of sad, actually, because you see the Christians, at least, were like, all right, we're going to go take over their celebration, right? And however, what Muslims do, and it's really sad to see, is we let other people's practices take over our practices, right? It's not like, oh, we're going to do this for dua and make people become Muslim. It's like, no, I want to be like these non-Muslims, or continue to do the things that me and my family were doing when we weren't Muslim, and somehow Islamify it. And I was thinking about this, like when you look at in South America, like the Day of the Dead, which is pretty much like Halloween, right? It's the same festival. They just do it a different way, where they honor their ancestors, cook food, say prayers for them, or whatever they do during this time. how much different is that than these 40-day death day celebrations they do in like Pakistan and India, right? Like, oh, okay, everybody get together, get food. We're going to pray for this person on these day because it's like a special day that we can pray for them. No, you can pray for them every single day if you wanted to. Like, this is innovation. You're incorporating, and you find out when you look into these practices, they were doing this well before Islam came.
Yep.
You discontinued it and then gave it an Islamic name and did some Islamic stuff on it. And it's sad to say, like, even look at the Mawlid. It's the same idea of like, okay, we are going to have some special day to remember the dead.
Yes.
And in Islam, I don't know of any significant day or any hadith or anything that where Rasul Sallallahu in the hadith or Allah in the Quran was like, yeah, on this specific day, do something for the deceased. You know? As Muslims, we're benefited in the fact that we can pray for our loved ones that have passed away anytime, anywhere, right? We can make dua to Allah, right? But as Amr said, we have 2 special days in Islam, and we have our 2 celebration days. That's the 2 Eids, and we have days of significance. That's the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the first 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, These are our significant days that we can get extra blessings for doing, worship in accordance to the Quran and Sunnah, what Rasul has done and us. But let's stick to that. Let's go back to the Quran and Sunnah. And I know people are thinking like, well, what do I do? We live in this Western culture. Is it okay if, my kid just goes to like, they got invited to the Halloween party by their friend? They're not worshiping anything. They're just having costumes. But no,
you're participating in the ceremony at the end of the day, whether or not you go all the way with something, right? Listen, if you are on campus, because I've been on campus a bunch of times in my life because I'm a student, right? If you happen to just walk by a gay pride parade when they're having on campus, right, and you're like, oh well, they're giving away cookies.
Yeah.
Like, I don't support you guys for being gay, but listen, talk tips. I'm gonna get some cookies. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're supporting them in just by being there, right? Showing your support takes from you. Your kids are the same way. And listen, this is gonna sound crazy to some foreigners, right? And even some Muslims, right? But I promise you, right, you are not going to be deported, right, from America for not celebrating these holidays.
Exactly.
Come to your door and say, Brother Fulan, you and your family, you've been here for 10 years. And you've never celebrated Halloween, Easter, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah. You're out of here, right? You're going back to South Africa. You're going back to Sudan. You're going back to Arabia. You're going back to Pakistan.
Yeah.
You're out. No, this is one of the few good things about America is that you're not forced to do anything at all. No one's been forced to do these holidays. So it's the pressure you have is solely on you. And if the guys of it is that, hey, listen, I want my kids to have candy. Candy is always available in America. You can buy it every day, right? And the day after Halloween, it's on sale.
It's on sale, right?
So if you're like, okay, here you go, like, here, give your kids this candy the day after Halloween. It's fine. Like,
and I know because being a parent and we face these pressures a lot. Like if your kids go to public school, especially, like my kids go to public school, and we have to deal with like telling teachers like, no, don't. My kids, they're in kindergarten, so they're coloring pictures up. Yeah. Like, don't give our kids any of those colorings for Halloween. They don't want to deal with it. We don't want any of that. They don't celebrate it. They're not coming to the party. My kids aren't going to school on Thursday, so they can avoid it. Yep. This is what you have to do as a parent. And you might think like, oh, I'm depriving my kid of something that other kids are getting, but you're actually not, right? Because what you have to do as a parent is you have to prepare your children to the best of your ability to what they're going to encounter and face when they grow up as adults. Yep. And right, as being a Muslim living in the West, there's going to be so many different things that being Muslim, we have to say, we can't do that. I'm sorry, I can't do that, or I don't do that. And if you're not preparing your kids at a young age to be able to say, hey, I don't do that, or I can't do that, I am different than y'all, then you're actually doing them a disservice. And just like Amr said, if you want to actually like make sure that they're not missing out on anything, you want to make sure they have candy or whatever, Go get the sale tomorrow, the day after Halloween, and buy up all the candy and get ready for the Eid and give them all the candy, more candy than they ever think of. Right? This is what you could do to make sure they're not missing out. So
absolutely. And just real quick as well. Listen, like as Josh mentioned about teaching your kids, having them ready for them to grow up, right? Your kids are gonna learn very quickly, right, that they're not the best at everything, right? And everything that they want to do doesn't always work out. So hey, listen, you may want to do this, but you can't, right? Listen, I want to dunk a basketball. I'm not I'm not gonna just jump 40 inches in the air. It's not how it works. All right. It sounds cool, but it's just not how it works. Your kids, they want to be the fastest kid in the whole world. Guess what? They're gonna go to that school and it's gonna be someone faster than them. It's gonna be okay. Life is gonna go on, all right. Them not celebrating Halloween, this is gearing them towards, hey, in the future, okay, well, I didn't do it as a kid, so I don't have to do this as an adult. I'm fine. I'm a-okay. All right. I don't need to celebrate this. I don't care about my birthday. I don't care about, oh well, all my friends, they have Christmas gifts on the 25th, and they got the Xbox and the PC and the PS5 and the Beats. They don't care about that. Oh, well, guess what? I have gifts on Eid and on Eid. I got 2 gifts of the year. What about you? So it kind of evens out in reality. You don't have a need to or want to actually. It's mostly, in my opinion, a lot of it is a lot of parents wanted to celebrate these holidays as kids. Yeah. And their parents said, no, you cannot. Yeah. So they said, when I have kids and I get older, I'm not going to be as strict. I'm going to be more liberal and just have fun. That's what it is, in my opinion. Because like
that's exactly what it is, and like especially with people that their parents actually did keep them from doing this type of stuff. They like they want to live vicariously through their child. Yeah. You know, it's very sad seeing this, and you know, we have to do better as Muslims in this country, standing up for ourselves and standing up for our beliefs and representing ourselves. And you might be the person that is with your neighbors or your friends at the soccer game or where your kids are playing at or at work, and you have to say that statement like, "Oh, I don't do that." Trust me, it's not as bad as you think it is, because it actually turns into a great dawah situation. Like, for instance, my wife was talking to one of her classmates, and they're talking about Halloween, and her classmate's a Christian. And she's like, well, what's the big deal? What's wrong with Halloween? It's just like, you know, just a way that the businesses make money. And my wife educated her, and she's like, oh, I didn't know all that. Like, well, yeah, it's a pagan holiday. Like you're actually, and I wanted to say this, right? And I'll let Mubarak chime in on his thoughts as well. And give us more details on why it's like really impermissible to actually participate in any shape or form into these things. But I was thinking, like, imagine if you guys can all imagine yourselves like you have like the worst enemy in the world, like a mortal enemy, right? And just imagine you're in a comic book series or something. You have a mortal enemy. You're the superhero. There's a villain, and the villain kills you, right? On whatever, let's say January 1st, right? And then the year after, all the villains and his disciples celebrate that he killed you on January 1st. And they call it like Doomsday or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Then if you were this person that got killed, and every year they celebrated it, and then eventually you look down like 100 years later and you see that your own descendants are celebrating this as well, right? And you're like, what the heck? And you get a chance to go talk, like phone down to your descendants and be like, why are you celebrating this Gloomsday or whatever? They're like, oh, what's wrong with Gloomsday? It's like, do you know that this villain, my enemy, the enemy of our family, like killed me on this day, and this was a celebration to celebrate my death? Did you know that? Well, no, it's just that we just do this, and we just have fun, and we just eat food, and we just share whatever it's turned into that time. Now, you would be pissed, right? That's just you as a human being. Now, think about it from Allah looking at this, where people created a holiday to worship other gods, right? They create these holidays to worship other gods. And then hundreds of years later, it turns into the people that are claiming to believe in Allah, to follow him, to obey him, are now celebrating the same exact holidays. Like Amr said in the beginning, it's just a trick. It's the playbook of Shaitan, and he keeps running it over and over and over again. And Muslims, just because even if you have like, oh yeah, I know Halloween's bad, don't let your guard down, because I'm like when Mubarak talks, I'm pretty sure he's going to enlighten you into all the different ways of how you still probably are affected by it.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Can you hear me? It's my
Yes, sir. You're good.
okay. Good. I had some technical difficulties there, but so I think this what I'm about to say is it may be surprising where I'm going with this, but if you just bear with me for a minute, I think we can make the connection. But we'll go to a surah that everybody knows, or at least they heard, and people use it in different ways. But we'll go to Surah Al-Kafirun, in which Allah is telling us to say these things. Okay, say them to who? To the kuffar. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ, right? Allah is telling us to tell them these things. قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ لَا أَعْبُدُ مَا تَعْبُدُونَ. We don't worship. I don't worship what you worship. And that's pretty clear, right? I don't worship what you worship. وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. And you guys don't worship what I worship. وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدْتُمْ. And I'm not a worshiper of what you guys are worshiping. وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. And you guys are not you're not worshipers of what I worship. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. To you your way, and to me mine. Okay, now everybody says, oh, we know this surah. Well, yeah, we're talking about the kuffar, but we're not kuffar, and what does it have to do with anything? So number one, Halloween is a holy day for them. Holiday, as we probably have said many times, but I know I said it all the time. People are probably sick of me saying it, but I'm going to keep saying it. Holiday is just one of the tricks of Shaitan to make it said quickly and to kind of change it a little bit so you don't realize the word is actually holy day. So these are holy days. Christmas is a holy day. Easter is a holy day. Thanksgiving is a holy day, not holiday. So you're like, what's a holiday? Oh, it's a celebration, or it's a day off, or no, holy day. That's what it is. So they use the trick of say it real quick, and mix it up to where you can change the meaning. No, holy day. What's a holy day? It's a religious ceremony. It's a day that's taken sacred by a certain religion, a holy day. So as far as the details and in the history of this holy day, according to them, Halloween, that's something for later if y'all haven't covered it yet. But
yeah, we covered it.
If we can understand that it's definitely a holy day, now that we know it's a holy day, when Allah is telling us that we are to say and we are to declare this, not only are we supposed to tell them this, so قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ, saying, oh, you, this is like declaring, telling them, making sure that they know, getting their attention. This is what we believe. So as Jafar was saying, when you have that opportunity to tell them, it's a good da'wah situation, but it's also you're showing and you're about your iman and your belief in Islam and your adherence, and you're following what Allah has commanded you to do, and making sure you take that opportunity to tell them, you guys are different than me. Yeah, we might be neighbors, we might be co-workers, we might be classmates, but we're different. And this is one of the things about Islam, that one of the key points about Islam is that we differentiate ourselves from other religions. The idea of assimilating and trying to get along with and trying to show how we're similar actually goes against the Sunnah. It goes against the Sunnah, and it's part of a colonial type mindset of how, which I know this is not part of the show, but we got to touch on it because it's part of it. Colonialized mindset is because it's two things. Number one, the culture and the people who are beneath the dominant culture and the dominant people as either from the ones who perceive themselves as lower, so they act a certain way, or the people who are perceiving themselves as higher, acting a certain way. Okay. Usually the people who are lower, they try to make themselves seem like those people who they perceive as higher or have more power or whatever benefits. So that's part of it. You being afraid to or so easily trying to find a way to participate in their holiday, their holy days and these things. But also another part of colonization, this colonized mindset, and if people don't know what the colonized mindset or colonization, is basically when one country or culture or people come to another person's land and take it over and implement their system over the people and colonize them. So you can be colonized physically, but the mind is the most dangerous place and the most harmful for a person to be colonized. And this is the colonized mindset. So the colonizers also, what they do is they like to implement certain things for you to make it easier for you or to entice you to not rebel against the system that the colonizers have set up. So you understand that this is what part of what's going on here. You have lots of Muslims who come from other countries that have been colonized, and they came to a country that was colonized amongst people who still have a colonized mindset. And so they constantly want to find ways to assimilate or try to make it fair seeming. Also, there is the aspect of enjoying yourself. Now, I don't think that anybody can't say that, some of the things, that they do on these holy days may not be fun. I mean, an Easter egg hunt or going door to door and getting candy or whatever. These are things that, even adults might like to do. I don't have no interest in it, whether it's halal or not. It's just not interesting to me at all. I mean, but for some people, that's enjoyable. But the thing is, not to go too long, the thing is this. We have to break away from the idea that we have to show that we're similar, that we're safe. No, we're dangerous. I mean, but what's dangerous is our way of life. Our way of being is dangerous to your status quo, as in not that we're going to physically harm you, but we're going to show the difference. And when you see the difference side by side, face to face, you can clearly see what's better. Right. The reason why. So for the Muslim woman who decides, she has her hijab on nicely, and then she says, well, you know what, let me just put it back or make a turban or whatever, or so it doesn't look like I'm wearing a hijab religiously, but it's style, is fashion. I'll just cock it to do something like that. What you're doing is you're moving yourself closer to them. And so that it's not clear how you're better. It's clear that you're different. Once you show that it's clear that you're different, it will become clearer that you're better. So the thing is, this surah, you can look at it as a way Allah is not only telling us that we don't worship like them, but we're very different. And we have to, when that last ayah that everyone loves to quote, lakum dinakum waliya din, to you your way and to me mine. How can a Muslim justify believing in this ayah and following the command of Allah when he says to say this? And it's not just about saying Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun, telling how we're different from them, we don't worship what they worship, but it's also in action. How can you justify it and at the same time participate in Halloween or any of these other holy days in any way? But I'll leave it there.
My wife was listening to a lecture today, and she was telling me about how the Imam he said a nice quote, and I was like, that's exactly what we need to be reminded of in this situation. He said it's not enough to believe in Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You also have to believe Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And what that means is, like, we as Muslims, yes, we believe La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? That's the standard to be Muslim. But we forget that also encompasses when Allah says something, when Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says something, we actually have to believe the words they say. So when Allah says in Surah Al-Ma'idah, I have perfected the religion, and I'm not going to accept any other religion except for this. We have to say, you know what? That means I'm not doing anything outside of this religion. I don't care where it came from. I don't care how good it may seem, what good idea it might be, how much fun I might have, how much, this is all these good deeds, it's a good innovation and all that. No, I'm only accepting what Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam brought. When Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, if you imitate a people, you will be among them. Right? And it's not referring to just being among them in this world. It's about being among them when you're raised on the last day and people being sent to the hellfire. That's what it's talking about, being among them. And we have to believe that. They're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to try my best for anything, especially related to religious matters, holy days, holidays, hallow days, whatever you want to call them. That's gonna be my bare minimum. That I'm gonna distinguish myself from all these people, right? No, I am, like Mubarak said, I am Muslim. You are a disbeliever. You don't believe what I believe, and I don't believe what you believe, and I will never believe what you believe. So we part ways. So
yeah, and if you have a hard time saying it, because I know, listen, because I'll even say it takes some. You have to almost like physically tell yourself, because there's Shaitan tries to get to you and say, well, you know, you don't want to, you know, you need to say anything. No, if you get over that hump and say it to them, I'm telling you, the respect that your coworkers and classmates and neighbors or whatever will have for you by you standing on business, as they say, and really being firm on that, they'll respect you. They'll stop cursing around you. They'll stop talking about alcohol. They won't. I mean, they'll you know, they'll act like you're some sort of saint or holy man or whatever. Like, I'm not that, but you know, but
e-gifts. Watch, just talking e-gifts.
yeah, all that stuff. You know, they will, and then that's the thing. Then they will try to want to think, well, you know, isn't it your holiday or whatever? They get the names wrong or whatever. Isn't it? You know, this is your Ramadan. Every Eid is always Ramadan to them. Isn't it your Ramadan? You got a Ramadan coming up. Yeah, I understand. You know, and so. The thing is, if you distinguish yourself, it's not just good for da'wah, but it's also, you know, there's barakah in it. Allah is going to bless you in ways that, and give you a reward in ways that you might, you know, not really be able to count. Because the thing is, Allah's law, as Allah says many times, that His bounty is, you know, is limitless. So the things that Allah will reward you for that you don't recognize, it's not like you're going to make a rak'ah or you're going to read an ayah of Quran or you're going to give some charity, but you being confronted with kufr, with Halloween. And Shaitan uses the vehicle of candy, and it's for the kids. I mean, this is 101. Use children to tug at your heartstrings and say, well, it's just for the kids. And you know, this is what they always say, that, you know, my coworker just yesterday. Oh, they wanted me to. We did what they wanted me to do. So they had these little small wooden cutout shaped like a pumpkin, right? That's it. Mm-hmm. It's just a cutout shaped like a pumpkin. And they were having this little thing at work. They were saying, everybody just take one and just, you know, draw something on it. You can put a design on it or whatever. And we'll see who's the best at, you know, drawing on this little pumpkin or whatever. Yeah. And they couldn't understand why I wouldn't do it. It wasn't about me. I said, no, every day they asked me, they said, what's coming up, you know, and this Thursday, you know, we're going to draw and someone's going to win or whatever. I'm like, no, it's like, well, you know, I said, you know, give it to somebody else.
That's what that is.
Yeah. So they wanted to, but they can't. So they said, you know, they said, well, you don't do Halloween. No, you know, well, do at least you let the kids, you know, do. Hell no. I mean, listen, I mean, that's just like, I mean, that's what this whole thing is about. It's like I'm trying to protect my kids from this. This is like against the kids. And so they'll ask me sometimes, and they kind of want to know, but they also at the same time, sometimes they like, I know that this holiday is probably something wrong with it. Cause like every holiday they come up with, sometimes they walk up on me, they say Juneteenth. Like, are you gonna knock this one down too? I'm like, man, what? I say, man, I don't know that about it, but like the 4th of July, I get on them, especially the black people. I'm on it, so they already know. They say, they listen. We just trying to cook out with the shot. I say, yeah, all right, you can just be trying to do it. Just like we just trying to give candy. The thing is, there's always a justification for fun. Shaitan tries to delude us with the fun, the excitement, the candy, the social aspect, whatever it might be, but we can't get caught up in that. The only thing, I don't know if y'all touched on it before I jumped on, but there's a thing that I kind of wanted to ask y'all. What are some of the Islamic, or I won't say Islamic, but some justifications from Muslims that you have heard that might have tried to say, well, that to try to get you to at least somehow in some way, if not participate, but just allow or in a roundabout way, not completely shut anything Halloween related down. What are some things that y'all have heard from Muslims?
Okay, I'm gonna take a step. Listen, there is the hadith when the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came to Medina and the Yahud were fasting on the 10th of Muharram, right? They're sure. And he said that I am closer to Musa than you are, so we fast on this day as well.
Oh no, I know where you're going with this. I can't.
If he can do that, then we can clearly, it's part of our religion to be able to take stuff from other people and do it better than them. Because we're that's the
biggest stretch I've ever heard.
Like,
wow.
Yeah, that is the boy is Stretch Armstrong.
That's what I heard one time. I was like, there's no way.
So if y'all understand with the stretch that made, right? Okay, so the 10th of Muharram, right? The Jews or the Yahud, they were okay. Technically, they're a different religion, and so they were doing something religiously that Rasulullah, who said we have more right to Musa alayhi salam. So we not only did that fast on that day, but it's actually good to either fast that day plus the day before or after, right? So 2 days instead of one. So the strategy is to say, okay, we're also supposed to be generous and give out candy or whatever, so we should do it better than them on their day. Maybe what are they trying to say? We're supposed to do Halloween like on the 30th and the 31st.
But basically, when he was
We got fast on Halloween now.
It's not haram because you as Muslims have to be generous and like you show an example, right? So like you can take things that are wrong and make them right by hey, so example, we're not gonna have all these like costumes stuff, all these demons, but we're gonna have good costumes. I was like all right.
Yeah, the one I hear the most is where they just try to separate it from worship.
Yeah.
Right. They just say, oh, it has nothing to do with even if they know about the history about it being pagan or being from Christian or whatever, they'll say, one, we're not worshiping anything. And then two, they'll say, well, it's not a religious holiday anymore. It's just a secular holiday. Those are the two biggest ones I've always heard. And
this is something that everybody's favorite sheikh. I don't say everybody's favorite sheikh, but one of the famous. I'll say his name because the reason why he made it and I think the video that he made of it is still up. But Yasser Al-Qadi made a video.
Oh yeah.
Basically detailing, about Christmas, and Christmas is like. I mean, even the secular Muslims, even the ones that was celebrating, that was participating in Halloween, and the ones who were doing Thanksgiving or whatever, they was going in on him about this. But Christmas, no, that's like a red line for a lot of Muslims.
Christians don't even celebrate Christmas.
As a holiday is like for Muslims, with like there's Muslims who are just like so out there. But they're like pork? Nah. They won't do alcohol, but pork.
But so that we understand why the brother who Amr was talking about, who made the stretch, the reasons why it is still, regardless of how nice the argument he may have been or whatever. And see, this is why you have to be careful. There's some things you can. And we always say a person can take some Islamic concepts, quotes, hadiths, ayahs. They can mismatch and do different things and make almost anything halal. You name me one thing that you say this got to be haram. This got to be haram. There's no way. You can give me an ayah and a hadith, and you can take different, other sources, misuse them. And then find a justification. That's what people do. So the reasons why this person, whoever it was that made the stretch, as nice as a job as he tried to do, it won't work is because Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam established that for us. And he's a source for us to be able to do it. So he took the day and said, even with Musa alayhi salam, we have more rights to him. Okay, but if Rasulullah would have never told us, hey, we have more rights to Musa and we should fast on this day and the next day if I'm still alive. If he would have never said that, it doesn't matter how nice it was. We could not do it. We would just ignore the 10th of Muharram altogether. So this is where the stretch that he made, where he failed the number one rule, and that is the religion comes from Allah and his messenger.
Yes.
So if you have a source that says Rasulullah heard about All Hallows Eve and he saw what the Christians were doing or whatever, and they were giving out candy, making sweets or whatever. And he said, that we give out dates instead or whatever, or something like that, which Just, the point is you have to have the source. So regardless of how flowery, and this is one thing that you can do to test certain things, is whenever people say and do things or try to make things Islamic, look for the source. Did Rasulullah do it? Did Rasulullah, is there an ayah? Is there hadith? And can you trace it back? Can you tie it back? If you can't, you can safely just throw it out. You can safely, and it's best for you to just reject it outright. And another thing is that there's many ahadith that show that whenever the Christians or the Jews, especially the Jews, were doing certain things religiously or socially or whatever, Rasulullah made it a point for us to do it differently than them to show that we're different. So those two things.
We trim ours. They do this, or we do that. Like they grow gray beards, or we dye ours. Like so many different things.
Back on the left side, we don't do it all. So like you have to be very careful.
And another thing on that point with that guy making that stretch is that because they use the same argument regarding like the Mawlad, right? They use that same type of argument. Rasul did not tell them to celebrate like the Jews. He told them to fast. Fasting is not a celebration, right? When we're fasting, we're not celebrating something. That's why we have our two Eid celebrations. We're prohibited to fast on celebratory days. So there's a difference between significant days of like worship and certain things like that versus a celebration or a holy day, a holiday where they're actually celebrating their holy whatever they're doing. So that's another issue that they have in that logic, is that you can't be fasting and celebrating at the same time.
I'll tell you a stretch that I had where a guy, I think I might have mentioned it before, maybe on another show, but definitely I might have mentioned it, but I'll say it for here because it's Halloween related. So, and it's actually, I won't say the brother's name, this brother, because I don't know if he still has it up, or maybe someone corrected him. He definitely was wrong, but he's pretty well known too. So this brother says they asked him, a Muslim sister, I believe, asked him, "Can we, participate in Halloween or whatever?" He's like, we don't celebrate Halloween, but she's like, "Well, what do I do when the kids come to my door for candy or whatever? Because I live in a neighborhood, and on Halloween they knock." He says, "You can, and you should." Prepare and have candy, and you good candy or whatever, and you should give them the candy. You should give them the candy because a Muslim, this is part of Islamic culture, and Muslims are generous to their neighbors, and they give gifts and candy and sweets to their neighbors, and this is a good thing. This is a good thing Islamically. So you can do it. So just imagine this lady who is going to come out of her house and meet these kids. Sometimes they're teenagers, sometimes their parents are with them or whatever. She is, of course, I'm expecting her to come to the door in hijab, maybe even niqab. She comes to the door, giving them candy, the good candy, the best kind, because he's encouraging her to do it up or whatever. So giving,
she's going to become the queen of Halloween. She's the queen of the block in Halloween. We did Halloween because my parents were new Muslims and didn't know about it. It was like just part of, so we had costumes and all that, and there would always be like, we knew which houses, like, we gotta get the old lady Smith's house first, because she gives out real Snicker bars. She don't give out the little things. She give out she try to make this Muslim lady be the queen of the block for Halloween. Not to mention all the issues you have with a sister at night coming to the door, answering the door for strangers. Like, come on.
Yeah, there's so many things wrong. But like I said, do you see how a person can just take Islamic concepts, hadiths? You can take ayahs about being generous, how you treat the neighbor. They even will use the hadith where Rasulullah says that Angel Jibril was coming to him and giving him such admonition and advice about how he dealt with his neighbor, that Rasulullah said, "I thought he would make the neighbor an inheritor, like to where when you die, your neighbor inherits from you. That's how much rights he was saying, how important it is to be sure to give the neighbor their rights. So when people take hadiths like that, they can use a lot of things to get you to thinking, yeah, I do need to be good to my neighbor. So when my neighbor's child comes and say, hey, do you have any candy? Yeah, so they go into Walmart or they go into wherever, they got the Snickers bars, they got everything ready, and they unknowingly Shaitan draws them in. So now what happens? That lady's own kids, your own children, are then so then what happens? They have the candy at home. What are they going to want to do? They want to go out and now participate. Oh, now this next thing. Well, your neighbor. So here what I'm gonna try to get y'all. Can y'all find the hadith that comes next? What's the next progression? Right. The next progression is. So the lady, the niqabi, the pious sister, she's giving out all this candy, whatever, and she has a bunch of kids or whatever. What's the next thing the kids are going to want to do, and what's a hadith that you can use to justify it?
The best or best of their families or best of their children or something like that.
If you're invited. If you're invited, yeah. See, yeah. So you can keep using, and so you can give hadiths, and just like it was a video that you had posted in the chat the other day where the brother was just using one hadith. It's an actual hadith, it's authentic, but the way that you use it's not even how a person can say, well, it's wrong. You can say, yes, this person is my neighbor, and they have invited, hey, come by our house later. We're gonna have whatever snacks, and we also have a set up because now what people do is Halloween. It's not just about the candy. They have like little surprises in their yard or whatever. They have decorations outside. They want people to come and look and experience how they have set up like a little graveyard and different zombies and stuff in the yard. And when you walk up on the porch, something might jump up and try to scare you or whatever. So that's part of it too. So if they invite you, technically, according to people like the sheikh who gave the lady that advice, you would have to go. Yeah. Knowing this, Rasul said if you're invited, you have to go. And they use this for other of their holy days as well. So when you're invited to the Christmas party, you're invited to the Thanksgiving party, you're invited to this and that and other. Well, as a Muslim, I kind of have to go. But these things are just they're used out of context. So you got to be careful. You can't participate in any way, shape, or form in these holy days. That's the bottom line.
For anybody who's asking a question like, what do I do about people that are going to be coming to my house asking for candy? Like I said, I have experience in this, and this is like dating back to the 80s when I was a kid doing this. It till today, it's almost in a lot of places, trick-or-treating is almost dead because they don't do it anymore, right? They do this thing called trunk or treat or whatever, where they organize the time in the daytime. They go park cars in parking lots because they don't want kids wandering around at night, and they go do in the daytime. They go to each person's trunk of their car and give out candy. But there's still people that go around knocking door to door, at dusk or whatever. It's a universal sign. All you have to do is turn your porch light off and no one will come to your door. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. It's been known for decades upon decades that if that porch light's not on, they're not giving out candy. And if someone does happen to knock on your door, you know what time it is, unless you're expecting somebody. You don't want to be pressured, or you don't have you don't want to deal with telling someone, no, I don't have anything for you. I don't celebrate it. Just don't answer your door. Simple as that. I mean, it's real easy to avoid.
So what advice would you give to the person who, if they say, I moved into this neighborhood, I'm real cool and, friendly with my neighbors, even the kids play together and everything. But, now it's like, I'm just antisocial because all of a sudden, I'm not answering the door and, I'm not dealing with it anymore. So, how do I then function in my neighborhood?
You function great because Halloween is one day out of the year. All right. That means that you have all these other days, because the idea that there's pressure for you for this one day, it's not real. You have all these other days to be a great neighbor. Heck, listen, if you want to come out a week later and say, hey, listen, here's a sticker bar for all your kids. Cool. Happy for you. But like, there is no pressure upon you to celebrate for this one day at all. This is a great thing for yourself. And as Muslims, you have to be firm in your stance that, hey, listen, I am right, you're wrong. Imagine someone being wrong and you're like, oh, I think they're right. You're right. Why are you listening to someone who's wrong? Like, people do this all the time before. It's just not Well, I mean, they said it's free, so I'll go with 3. No, bro,
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
And if you're worried about the social aspect of it, about like fitting into a new neighborhood or whatever like that, with one, just know that you're not going to be the only person not participating.
Yep.
There's more people that actually don't participate in Halloween than actually do, as far as like houses giving out candy.
Mm-hmm.
If you were able to just drive down a normal street, you'll see, I don't want to say more, but you'll see a significant amount of houses with their lights turned off that they don't want to give out candy, right? They're just not doing it. So you're not going to be the only one. And if you're worried about like, okay, they're going to think this or think that, then actually, if it's if you live in one of those close knit neighborhoods, like those close communities where, you're going to see like all the people and talk to, one, I'm going to challenge you and say, you don't mess with your neighbors like that anyway, because most people actually don't in America. Like, we don't have that type of society anymore. We're like, hey, brother John, come over for the barbecue. Like, people don't interact. But if you do, answer the door for your neighbor John, and when they say, "Oh, we're going to get candy," "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you didn't know? We don't participate in that. We're Muslim." They will actually feel more guilty about knowing that you don't celebrate that, and if they came and asked you about that, then you will feel about actually having to explain that to them. Yep. So don't, that's all shaitan trying to trick you into doing something that, what does it say? Allah motivates and operates by giving us promises, and shaitan gives us fear, right? He threatens us and tries to scare us into doing anything. That's just your own shaitan messing with your nafs to get you to feel like, oh, they're going to think so-and-so about me. But trust me, they aren't. And if they are, they're probably Islamic phobic anyway, and they never liked you to begin with. So,
If your relationship is going to change with your neighbor because all of a sudden they found out that you don't celebrate Halloween, I would say then that's not that very good neighbor. And you don't need that person in your life anyway, especially you're a Muslim. But the thing is, the thought that comes to mind is back in the day, there used to be this song, right? It was, you tell one lie, it leads to another. You tell two lies, it leads to your brother. And so this thing comes to mind. It's not that the person is a liar per se, but when that opportunity is presented itself, that's like a neighbor moved across next door to us. The guy who was living next to us for a long time, he moved. He sold the house and moved, and someone else moved in. A lady with kids that were similar to some of my kids' ages, whatever, and her husband, who were husband for years. He was never spoken a word. I think he's one of the Proud Boys, like one of those race, like white supremacists or something like that. Anyway, I'm like, it's like whatever. It's like the street turns to ice when we pass each other in the street. I'll be like, but anyway, but his wife is friendly though. That's the thing. His wife is friendly, and she's it's weird. I don't know how they get along, but anyway, so they misdelivered a package to my house that was theirs one day, like early when they were there or whatever. Yeah, I had the package. I was going to walk it over there, but she happened to come out and walked over there or whatever. She's like, "Oh, thanks, the package." I was like, "Yeah, I was going to bring it over anyway." So she sticks out her hand to shake my hand. I'm like, that was the first interaction that I had with her, and I told her, I said, we don't shake hands. I don't shake women's hands, but but from that day, she knew. So there was never going to be a situation where, I'm all of a sudden now I'm in a setting where my wife is there or there's some Muslims there or whatever. And now, she normally thinks, because around here in the South, people hug. They don't just take hands, they hug. Yes. So yeah, all of a sudden I'm acting funny. So what it's like is that if I would have shaken her hand then, it would have been like telling a lie. Not only would have been wrong, but it's like telling a lie, because it's like, I'm telling you this is okay with me, but it's really not. So if you don't establish that you're a Muslim very clearly, at the very least, that will make it easy for you to, no, I don't do this because I'm a Muslim. Hey, I'm a Muslim. I told you that. So we don't do this. Now we don't do that. Now they start to pick up and they catch on, and then they will realize pretty quickly. So do you don't do this? Oh, y'all don't eat this, do you? Then sometimes they'll be like, you eat fish or whatever, or can I? Sometimes they and they have the internet. They might find some wrong stuff, but they can find basic stuff. Once they tell them you're Muslim, they're not that dumb. They might try to push you on a few things, but they'll get it. So don't get yourself, don't start out on the wrong foot by kind of telling that little lie about, or at least avoiding making sure they know you're Muslim.
Yeah.
And then you can go from there. It's much easier from there. But the only other thing that I would mention is, and I'll ask you all this: what advice would you give to a person, to the people who are businessmen or women, or they have shops, they have stores, they sell things or whatever, and they take advantage of the holy day themed sales, or things, whether it's Father's Day, Mother's Day, Halloween, Easter, Christmas, all these things. How would you advise a person who who might use some advertising or some yearly themed advertising to push some of their products?
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I may be wrong in this, but I would say to stay away from anything actually advertising like the holiday. But like, say for instance, if you have a candy store for whatever reason, and like candy's going to be your big day, I don't see any problem with like having like a sale, but don't make it a Halloween sale. Don't make it a Thanksgiving 2-for-1 special or something like that. I don't know, but definitely don't do anything to promote the actual holiday. I think that's where the line comes in.
So can I in my store, my shop, my meat store, whatever, normally year round I'm just selling meat or lamb and goat or whatever, but last week of October, only thing I got available is pumpkins.
That's a no, I think.
Actually, if anything,
I never sell turkey until November, type of thing. I mean,
yeah,
it's to me, I don't know that I can definitively say the money that you make from selling turkeys to Christians or whoever for Thanksgiving is haram, but and I'm pretty sure, I haven't even searched for it. I'm pretty sure there's fatwa on it. And see, this is the thing also. This is what we have to realize, is that you have shuyukh and ulama who are not from America. They may never have even heard of Thanksgiving. Seriously, they might not even know anything about it, and they don't know all the details or whatever. Okay, and so what do people do? They sometimes they trick these shuyukh by telling about it. I don't want to say trick them, but they'll use things like hilful fulul, which was the agreement that Rasulullah before Rasulullah got was given his mission as a messenger. One of a man in Mecca was taken advantage of. His money was taken or whatever, and he made a big deal about it. And they came together and said, we will all, whatever the deal is, we're all going to come together and make sure that we will never allow a person to be taken advantage of like that ever again. So that's one thing. They say, well, Rasulullah wasn't it was before Nabuwwah, but he joined together with non-Muslims to do something good or whatever. So they try to use this as a horse to ride into it on. But I would say that so this is the problem that we run into. You have shuyukh from overseas and from other countries. They don't know the culture. They might not have even heard of Thanksgiving before, and they just don't know. And then you have a lot of people here that they're shuyukh on paper, but they're here on a work visa or on trying to make sure they don't ever get deported, or trying to make sure whoever can come back and forth. And they're not going to say anything. And sometimes they put there to push assimilation. I'm sorry, but we have people that push assimilation. And so they're going to find a way to make, these things okay. But I would say, from my understanding and from what I know, that if you have a shop or store, whatever, and you normally do sell turkey, okay, year round. But if you're buying turkey just because that that the Christians, they eat turkey on their holiday, then know for sure you are assisting them. You're assisting them, and you're making money off of them participating in their holy day. So I mean, it's like if you're gonna sell Christmas trees, you literally have a farm and all you have is evergreen trees, and that every December you're gonna sell out. I mean, it's like, you know, you can say, well, there's nothing wrong with selling trees. They could be using them for firewood or whatever. You can make excuses you want. But, you know, before Allah, see, Allah, we can never trick Allah.
Yep.
And so that worldly gain that we might make, will it be worth it? Will it be worth it? I would say if my own son or if a family member told me, I would tell them don't do it. It's haram. I would say you're making money year round. You're making money year round. And if you're not making money year round, and this time of year when you sell your turkeys and your Christmas tree, and your special candy on these days, if those are your 3 big days, get out of the business because you are participating with them. But as I said, now if someone has, you know, I can't definitively say that if a person does this, they're committing haram. But I would, if someone asked me, I would tell myself and anyone who asked me, I would say that I think it's definitely something that you should stay away from.
Yeah, there's got to be I mean, I don't have the resources to look, but there has to be something I'm thinking of because there was non-Muslims, Christians, and Jews that lived under Muslim rule during the time of Rasul Sallallahu and the Sahabas, and they had their own holidays and stuff. So I wonder if there's any examples of, you know, Muslims specifically stocking certain items or whatever that might have been associated with their item. But it's definitely a good question, and it's definitely something that falls into the doubtful, questionable. If you can stay away from it, definitely stay away from it because you stay away from doubtful things. So I will say this: when the Christians lived under the Muslims, what holidays did they have? The Christians didn't. They Christmas didn't exist. Thanksgiving didn't exist. Easter didn't exist. It's like the Jews had their Ashura holiday. I don't. Who knows if they had any? I'm just saying. I don't know. There has to be something. At least during the time.
But so it's like this. I don't think there was anything in those days that specifically. I'm talking about in the time of Rasulullah and the 3 favorite generations. Now, when people they always love to go to Al-Andalus and you know the Uthmaniyin, the Ottoman Empire. Listen, those situations were a little. They were Muslim, yes, absolutely, and they did some great work. But they were some wild boys. Sometimes they were.
You either got you have to look at either you'd have to look at when we started expanding during the time of the Sahabas. That'd be like the best chance of finding a close enough, if that even exists. I don't even know if it exists because I'm making up the idea that they had some kind of certain thing that who knows? So I'm like, if you are a person who you know, you have a farm and you have turkeys as well as everything else on your farm that you sell. If they come and buy a bunch of you on that day, okay, but you're someone who has that. You have birds and chickens or whatever. Okay, that's not. I'm not saying. But if you say, listen, I know that these people. It's just like a person who he makes crosses. It's just 2 pieces of wood. I'm just nailing 2 pieces of wood and I'm selling them. You know who's buying them. So, I mean. For that, you could say, well, it's not haram to cut wood. It's not haram to sell wood. No. But if you know that this is where the business is coming from and you've built your business model around this, then to me, I would say it's probably 99% chance it's haram. And I stop short of saying that because I don't have anything directly that I can tell you this person and who preceded me in saying that. But that's and you got a lot of people that do that. The line is probably, and this is a good discussion though, but the line's probably around where like if your business is solely built around a kafir holiday, that's problematic, major problematic. And 2, if you go outside of your normal business operations to accommodate a kafir holiday, like the meat store is probably the best example. You sell chicken 364 days of the year, but that one day you go to the turkey supplier like, listen, I need a bunch of halal turkeys because I know they're gonna buy these turkeys. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like that might be the line. Like, okay, you got to look at what you're doing because you actually don't need it. And you're actually not really in the business of selling turkeys.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For Joffrey's example of like owning a candy shop, I would say, listen, if you own a candy shop on Halloween, hike up the prices. That's what I would say to you, bro. whatever you're putting this, double the price, all right? Down enough, $2, all right? Hike the prices up for you, all right?
Let's see how bad you really want to trick or treat. Now that would be a good deterrent. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, to stop you from celebrating. But it's like
everything goes up.
Like, yeah, for instance, there's like these some of these Muslim shop owners. They own the gas stations or whatever, and they sell these pipes.
Oh.
They sell these pipes that has a small rose in it. So people are like, what the heck is this for? Someone didn't know. They were like, this little pipe, it looks like a crack pipe with just a little paper rose in it. That's what it is. It's a crack pipe.
Yeah.
And they're selling crack pipes, but they put a little rose in it. That they know that people just buy the crack pipes and then they just throw the rose out and then they go and do what they do, a little paraphernalia to do drugs. And so they know that this is what they're doing, but they use that as a, well, hey, I don't know what they do. Maybe they're buying these little roses for their, their girlfriend or significant or their wife or whatever. But it's like these things, the moral of this story, this whole thing is there are gray areas, as Jahar mentioned earlier, where there's doubtful matters. To me, it's not that doubtful, but even if you want to say, well, it's doubtful. Okay, Rasul Sallam has told us how to deal with doubtful matters. Stay away from them. And the halal is clear, the haram is clear. And the people who go astray, the people who get themselves messed up is the ones who dabble in those doubtful matters. So stay away from anything related to these holy days as best you can. And hopefully Allah will forgive us.
Don't be misled when we say, oh, it's a doubtful matter, because a lot of people, unfortunately, when they say, oh, it's a doubtful matter, as if like it's okay for us to do it because we don't know it's wrong. No, when we say it's a doubtful matter, that means like red flag, stay away. That's how as Muslims we should think about. It's doubtful, or I'm not sure about it. Stay away from it until you're sure about it. So we have one question in the chat that says, so if you see a bowl of free milk chocolate Halloween candy, do you grab some or not? And I guess you can imagine like being at work at the lunch, the cafeteria or eating room, there's inevitably someone puts out some free Halloween themed Snickers, M&Ms or whatever. Are you allowed to grab some?
Me personally,
I do. I do. I mean, well, that's not a good answer. Just say I do. That doesn't mean right. But so I'll say that this. I mean, I'm not participating. I'm not now. If I were to go to it's just like, for instance, they had a Christmas dinner at my work. They had a Christmas dinner. I'm talking about they had a spread down that joint. I'm talking about they had that joint laid out, man. It was like, and they had like all the stuff, like they had salmon and specially made and all this like stuff that Muslims would eat too. Like they had everything that you might want down there. So I wouldn't go down. I wouldn't go down to the dinner, but I told a guy at work, a Christian guy at work, I said, go down and bring me some, XYZ, get this for me and bring it to me. He went down there, they had ate it all anyway. So it's like, if I probably went down there, I would have been double mad because I went down there bruised with him. But the point is this: the food is not haram. If it's halal food, it's halal food. Just like if your Christian neighbor sends you some Christmas, cake or whatever, it's not haram. You can eat it. You didn't ask for it, and you didn't go to to celebrate or whatever. But you can eat it if the food is halal. There was another thing it just came to my mind. I was going to mention about that, but it slipped my mind. Maybe it'll come back. But you can eat halal food. You can eat halal food. Oh, I was going to say, just like if the Sufi sends you food on the Milad or one of these holidays that they made up. If they send you some food, yes, you can eat it. If they send you, we're celebrating the Prophet's birthday and we're sending sweets or whatever, if they send you something, you can eat it. Now, if they come to your door or whatever, if you get the chance to tell them, hey, what you're doing is haram, but I'm still gonna eat this cake though. you can't do it. But you also can you could tell them, use it as a chance to tell them, or maybe if you reject it because you don't want them to celebrate. But as far as it being halal for you to eat, it is. If the item is halal to eat, you can eat it. What you cannot do is participate in their celebration. So if they said, "Hey, come sit down with us. We're having Halloween candy tasting session or whatever," you go down there, sit down there and eat with them, then that's the issue. The issue is not the food. The issue is you adding support to their numbers and to their joy. You're bringing joy to them. You know what I mean? Even if you go and just have a good time and good, it's just like people who go and they will go out and socialize with people who are drinking and doing these things or whatever. You're helping them to enjoy something that Allah is saying, it's not allowed for you, and they're not supposed to be doing anyway. So, you can't help them be more happy about what they're doing. But if you just snatch some of their candy, that they're just leaving around for free. I mean, it's everywhere. Everywhere you go, it's like it's sitting on counters. You go in the doctor's office, dentist's office, during this time, there's candy everywhere. I mean, so you can eat it, and Allah knows best.
And like Mubarak said, that's not actually part of their celebration. It's them just, I got too much candy at home, I need to get rid of it. Okay, I'm going to bring it to this place so people could take it. So you're not participating in any celebration in that way. So okay, so we'll be back again next month, probably right before the next holiday that y'all about to celebrate. That one's going to take a little bit. We'll get a little bit more probably discussion on this one, because this one is a more difficult one, it seems, for Muslims to actually deal with, because of this idea of Thanksgiving, and then people do the Stretch Armstrong, like, well, we're just giving thanks to Allah, and we'll have a nice discussion about that. Stay tuned. We're also going to be trying to put out some more weekly content, so also look forward to that. We appreciate everybody attending, and if anybody has any show ideas or topics that they want us to discuss or cover, email us at emailr2f@gmail.com. That's emailr2f@gmail.com. Or if you have any of our numbers, you can WhatsApp us, text us, any ideas. If you want to come on a show, if anybody wants to come out, people that are still leaving cults and want to do their exit interviews and talk about their experiences, contact us. If you need private consulting or coaching or help with exiting a cult and dealing with all the issues that you're going to face as far as family issues, friends, finances, and living situations, and all the other different things that people encounter when they exit from a cult, contact us. We're here for you. So with that, thank you for joining us, everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Two things. Sorry about that. Number one is we do have the R2F chat. Anybody, if you're in the cult, halfway in, halfway out, or whatever, you can come in. You can get some support there, or get some advice, or you can argue, or whatever you want to do there. And the last thing is that if you did not know, Lahut Lamakan is still impacting.
Real quick, what I'm going to do while I'm still here is I'm going to how do I invite somebody to this chat? Where's the link?
Real quick, while Dr. is doing that, just to reiterate, these holidays or holy days, this is one of the tricks of the devil. And as I mentioned earlier, before Mark got it here, it's not going to be a 70-yard touchdown pass. It's going to be a 4-yard run nonstop. And you're going to keep running 4 yards, and eventually you're going to get there. So last year, my coworkers had a secret Santa, right? Okay? And I'm like, because for some reason, people love me. I don't know why, right? And they said, okay, are you going to participate? I was like, absolutely not. I'm Muslim. It's not what we do, right? So this year, right, these people select, they said, listen, it's going to be a gift exchange, and it's not going to be on Christmas Day. It's going to be on December 16th. So now you can be a part of it. I was like, I'm still not going to be a part of it.
They got like 4 different names for that Secret Santa thing. It's like Yankee Exchange, Secret Santa, all types of stuff.
So we got Thanksgiving. We got Christmas, that maybe we'll do a Christmas and New Year's. We'll wrap that whole joint because it's really the same joint, the 12 days of Christmas and all that. So we'll try to, because unfortunately Muslims are trying to participate. The next one, Thanksgiving, Muslims just can't give it up. I mean, boy, they go so hard for that joint, man. So we'll have to break that down.
Yeah, listen, the thing about Thanksgiving is funny to me. It's like in Islam, to eat food, all you have to say is Bismillah. Imagine waiting at your table so that the head of the household can have some Christian type of freaking Ya Allah, we'd like to thank you.
Everybody holding hands.
Feast. All right. All the family came in from out of town. I like to thank all the ummis and the aunties for making this macaroni and cheese, this turkey, these collard greens. All right. I like to thank my kids for coming here peacefully, my nieces and nephews. All right. Truly, Allah has blessed us this day. I mean, let's eat. That's not how we do, bro. Ya Allah. All right,
y'all. We appreciate y'all. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Wa alaikum assalam.